Marina and Redondo paid parking update.
Council member. Yes, I just wanted to give a quick update on our parking situation. As we all know, we're looking for new equipment for the Redondo area and the marina. We've received 4 quotes. We're taking our time. We want to make sure to do it right this time. Don't want to mess it up. So we're taking our time, looking at everything. And anyway, so we've received 4 quotes. Couple of them are out of state, a couple of them are in state. We've narrowed it down to the 2 in state. We all know what happened with our out-of-state one this last time, so we want to be diligent about that. All of them have new technology. They all have tap, swipe, chip, Apple Pay, QR code reading. It's all the new technology. They're also all cloud-based, so no more going up, taking out little chips, putting in new chips, getting on a little keyboard and trying to upload everything. Everything's cloud-based, so it's just on somebody's PC and send the information for upgrades and for software upgrades and things like that. There's one other thing that's now new that we want really bad, and I hope we'll get it, and I'm sure we will, but it's called LPR. It's license plate reading or license plate recognition. And what that allows for is all of our tenants, all of CSR's employees, all of our employees, all of frequent users that have the frequent users pass, when they purchase their pass, if they'll give us their license plate, as soon as they pull up to the machinery, the loop sensor takes a quick picture of their front license plate and automatically opens if they're registered. And it's the same way upon exit. So doing this, to speed up that entrance, that exit, all those crowds that we have, it'll be very, very nice. And if you don't have a front license plate, you got to use your card. But if you have a front license plate and you're registered with the marina, it'll just open when you come and open when you leave. So that one's very cool. We're looking at local supports, like I said, with a local presence and local references here in Seattle. They all have new intercom to phone support, so as soon as you push an intercom button, it'll be calling either our day phone or our night phone, so we'll have somebody 24 hours to help out with anything we need to. I'm going to be reaching out to the police chief here pretty soon, as we need to sit down with him and talk about some help when we do get these new systems installed, as it's going to be a learning curve. We'll have to start maybe shooshing people out in the evening like we did originally with the original equipment that we had. So I'll have a meeting with Chief Gately to get through that a little bit. We'll be able to do validations for the Anthonys. We'll also be able to set prices for certain events at certain times, like the farmer's market or any other events the city might hold. So we can just go online and do that type of upgrades for the machinery. So that's our marina, and that's what we're on right this second. Now, as for Redondo, we're looking at that same equipment, so our users can use the same card for both locations, so they can have both parks. But at the present time, we're just going to be looking at purchasing that equipment because there's no infrastructure at Redondo. We have no islands, we have no power, we have no fiber, we have nothing down there. So we have to build islands, we have to trench for new conduit lines and do all that. So we want to purchase that equipment soon, so we have everything that's the same. And then we'll work diligently on getting that, installed, and we'll probably work with a contractor to do some concrete cutting, things like that. The marina staff installed all the equipment down at the marina, so they can do as much as they can, conduit, wiring, doing whatever. But we will be working on the infrastructure because there is nothing at Redondo at this time.
Okay.
Mayor.
Yeah, a couple questions. I assume these will be weather and salt proof.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. I mean, they're going to be rated. They're powder-coated machinery. They all have heaters in them to keep the moisture out of them, things like that. Nothing's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
We're going to try our best. Everybody says, well, you should put covers over them. Hard to do with large boats, large trailers, and different things, and the delivery trucks that come to Anthony's. So, all we can do is make sure they have good gasket seals and dry, and like I say, heaters in them and things like that.
As waterproof as you can make them.
Exactly.
And then the LPR, now you've had, obviously we have folks that drive through them, damage them, stuff like that. Would it also capture that type of stuff?
Yes, and
Okay.
as soon as a car enters, it doesn't read anything other than license plates. And now we have a new camera systems throughout the marina's parking lot. We just had installed a few months back. So between both of those technologies, we should be able to get better enforcement on all that.
Okay, fantastic. And the last one, so obviously I think they're gonna try to start the bathroom process in Redondo in early 2024, right? Was that the time you're thinking that
I'm hoping
you'd
to
go with the
tag.
infrastructure at the same time?
Yeah,
When
I'm
it-
hoping to tag with
Kill two
Andrew and
birds with one
Steve.
stone?
If you're cutting up the parking lot, let me cut it up a little more.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Those are the questions I had.
Very good. I don't have any questions. You answered most of them. My question was gonna be about self-performance of the work, and, you took care of that, so.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna, next week, early next week, maybe sit down with Michael and see how he'd like me to proceed with this, and then we'll get back to you soon.
Perfect.
Great. So,
One quick comment, just a reminder. So the cost of establishing the paid parking, both the beach park and Redondo, are all included as designated projects in the bond that is being issued.
Yes.
So the resources exist for that.
Thank you.
which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I know that both communities, the Marina District as well as Redondo, getting that extra level security is only to be added. I know that everybody wants it today, but there is a process. So
Yeah.
thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, no, we wanna make sure, I don't wanna be known for that guy that messed this one up, so.
I also like the idea that, so you know what you did in the infrastructure down here, because you guys put it in, so you know all about it, and it's ready, pretty much
Yes.
more plug and play.
Exactly.
But I think it gives you opportunity to learn a few things that you might be able to cut a few corners when you get down to Redondo.
And that's exactly else, and that's exactly truth with the equipment itself. It's, over the last few years, we've learned what works and what doesn't work. And, and where we need, something better, something less, everything. That's, staff became pretty good at parking people.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of critics on when you put the one in the marina, it was about the cost, but they forget that it included the infrastructure, and I believe you guys did also some wiring to the business park and
Yep.
things like that, so it was very inclusive.
Yeah, it was. And, over time, I was telling Councilmember Nutting that, over the last few years, parking, it does make money. It brought in over the last few years about $800,000. So it is profitable. And just the increase in safety is what it's all about.
Thank you, Harbor Master Scott. If there's nothing else, for the Marina and Redondo, we'll move on to the next order of business, which is the Navy Air Boat hydrofoil, and Peter Phillips and City Manager Michael Mathias will give us an update.
Thank you, Chair Nutting. I'll just start out and then turn it over to Peter. In pursuit of finding ways to kind of advance multimodal transportation and utilizing either vessel service from Des Moines to Seattle or depart areas to the south. So we've been trying to identify ways to do that, and next week on the 6th or 4th, yeah, sorry, Wednesday the 4th, we will have a demonstration by a hydrofoil boat producer down at the marina, I think starting around 11 or so. And so anyone's, obviously welcome to come see what that looks like. But what's cool about this, it's an electrified boat and provides about 6 passenger spots. I think the total capacity is about 8. So relatively small, but builds on the environmental sustainability that the city has really focused on in a number of ways, not the least of which multimodal transportation being the community shuttle from the Angle Lake Station to the business park, downtown, the marina, back, and now providing just different demonstrations as to what passenger ferry service could look like. And this is a very unique opportunity because it's an electrified boat, and that's would be the least impactful on the sound. And I think that one thing the council, at least since I've been here, has focused on is the importance of that stewardship of the relationship between the city and the interface with Puget Sound. So this is kind of one more example of just building on the possibilities of doing some very positive positive things. So with that, I'll turn it over to Peter.
Thank you, Michael. And thank you for the opportunity to brief you on what's going on here. By way of background, if you remember, last summer we ran a very successful pilot program. We ran a foil-assisted fast ferry, traditional propulsion between Des Moines and downtown Seattle, and was very well received. In fact, we did 400% of the expected ridership, and the revenue was 250% of what we expected to recover in fare box recovery. And of note, I think, is that the fare box recovery was twice the percentage at 40% that a traditional fare box recovery is for municipal transit, bus transit. So very well received. 15,000 people rode the boat in 2.5 months, which is half the population of the city of Des Moines. And equally important, I think, which was unanticipated, was the extreme jump in visibility that the city of Des Moines had regionally. We had a lot of press coverage, not only about what we were doing with the ferry, but the food scene and the quality of life, and it really did a lot for just the general visibility of the city. So council authorized an expanded pilot this last summer to look at the interest of commuters. So the pilot was intended to run 6 days a week, and we were going to start earlier and come back later. The boat that we used in the first pilot was unavailable because the owner wanted to sell it and they didn't want to put it under long-term charter. But we found a very similar vessel, a sister vessel, in the Bay Area, and hired a company to operate it that owned the boat. Unfortunately, on the trip up, about halfway up, the carbon fiber shaft broke. Was a tailor-made shaft and would have required 12 weeks to replace it, and would have put us in the middle, late of August, which wouldn't have allowed us to look at what we wanted to look at. However, there was an extensive amount of planning that was done before that, and we learned a lot. We identified some really good partners that we can call on, because we'll definitely need partners long-term to help fund anything that we want to do running to the Des Moines Marina. One of the interesting parts too of that learning process and the visibility that we gained was the visibility within the vendor community. And they saw Des Moines as being, an innovative, forward-seeing community that had great ideas, but most importantly was able to deliver on them. We did run that pilot program. The city did it on its own, and that was impressive to the vendor community, who has now reached out to us to show us what they can do. And one of these is this company Navier out of the Bay Area. They build carbon fiber, foil-assisted electric boats. This is a small boat. They have not, this particular company hasn't built a ferry, but other companies have. This company wants to give us a technical presentation on what the boat can do, with an eye toward delivering a commercial vessel. So they're going to bring it up here, perhaps too. We don't know yet. And they're going to show us what they can do, and that's on Wednesday, the 4th.
Thank you, Peter and Michael. Is there any questions you might have?
I got a little bit more comments, I mean, I've been a big proponent of it. I think it's been a great predecessor to an economic driver in our community. Everywhere I go, when I give a state of the city or speak with either regional electeds or groups of people, everybody knew about the ferry, and everybody wants to know when it's going to come back, because they had plans this summer to ride it. And I told them it's coming, so forth. I think we got a great opportunity for partnership with other partners, like maybe Point Ruston or Tacoma, maybe Gig Harbor, Seattle, and even the port. Yesterday at the Highline Forum, Commissioner Fellerman was very high on it, and he actually commented, and I said yes, and we'd love you to be a partner in the future. So obviously pursue those opportunities, because we know that, yeah, we did it on our own, but it would be nice to have some additional players and offer more services and more boats, right? So I'd love to see that. Is Adam Smith gonna be able to attend, or any of his representations on the 4th? Fantastic, because in a conversation I had with him down in,
He will not be,
But-
Alex is.
Alex will, great, because he was very adamant that he thought this was a great opportunity. He also mentioned, and there were some other people, that's actually a old boatyard that isn't being used in Tacoma. And of course, being in our state, he thought, what a great facility. Maybe these guys from the Bay Area, you know, we get them to play in our community, or at least up and around Washington. But that's great to hear. But first of all, I want to thank you. I think you've been well worth the investment we've made in you, and you know, providing us a great service and information. And you are an expert, and I'm glad to have you on our team. And to Michael, your efforts to, yes, we are environmentally sensitive. Somebody, a diver, I'm in the water. I want to see and do what we can to improve the quality of life and be the leader in it. We already are with the drone show, what we're trying to do with some of the coastal cleanup and things like that. But to go to electrification, if we can do it. You know, I heard earlier in the previous meeting about like how you do, you know, the logistics of battery charging and so forth like that. So I'm not gonna bring that up, but that was awesome to know that you'd already been looking at the logistics, so I'm excited about that. You're thinking 360 full spectrum, and I just encourage you to keep pursuing it as a member of this committee, because I think it's a great component of what our future is gonna be, particularly in the marina and what it's gonna mean to the downtown. So I have nothing but good to say if we can figure it out and pull it off. And I'm excited for next Wednesday, because I want to see it for myself.
Well, I appreciate that. Interestingly, there is a yard in Tacoma, Martinac, that has been vacant for a long time. But these vessels don't really necessarily require a shipyard. You can build these off-site, and they can put them on a semi. So we could conceivably, you know, if there's industrial land here, we could build those boats here, put them on a truck, deliver them to the marina, and start operating.
I like that better.
Yeah, I just want to, this is certainly something we'll need to bring before our Environment Committee. But I just want to make a couple of points about the sustainability. This will be his third
Yeah, I
time
know.
here. But no, I just want to, when you're talking about the sustainability aspect, I mean, all this kind of ties together. It's very interesting. Well, we supported SR3 being here, Marine Mammal Rescue.
Yep.
And so now we're looking at electrified ferries, which will minimize impacts on orcas and sea life, right? Same time, kind of focusing on that multimodal piece with the transportation on the land through the community shuttle, and then relating it to ferry service. And the other thing is then looking at 223rd and how the steps are constructed in a manner that helps enhance water quality into the sound. So all these different initiatives all tie together around that respect for the environmental stewardship that council has demonstrated by the policies you've adopted, you know, so it's all good.
Thank you very much, City Manager Matthias and Peter Phillips. Is there anything else? This is, so next steps will probably be the Environment Committee. We'll hear this, and then we'll bring it, are we gonna bring a presentation to the full council, or we just?
I
Just
think
a-
absolutely, I think, Mr. Chair, so I think based on the experience we have next week and kind of see what we learn and look at, I think that will absolutely entail a, you know, kind of report to council. I would assume most council members would want to attend this, but we need a presentation to get it in the public venue, so, absolutely.
Very good, thank you very much. Those were the only three items on our agenda here. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
guys.
guys.